Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we are jumping down into the charts for Ethereum, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. Now as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check that one out if that's your bag. Okay, also in the description down below there's two other links, one to our Patreon services where we offer a lot more via Discord for our Patreon members, everything from buying, selling, staking alerts that Chris and myself on our movements in terms of crypto, everything to trading, project reviews, AMAs twice weekly, and a whole host of additional benefits. Now if that sounds like something you're interested in, check out that link in the description below. The second link, the new Cheeky podcast is out. It's available on Apple and Spotify, but also here on YouTube as well. So why not check it out? It's a fantastic way of staying up to date with everything crypto. It's completely free and it's a great listen on your daily commute into the office. Okay guys, with all of that spiel out of the way, let's jump on down into the charts. Here we have Ethereum paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. Now what we're talking about here is multiple different things, multiple different scenarios. We have our one bullish sentiment or scenario going upwards. This is approximately has a high of about 1,450 on a 1-to-1 ratio with our A wave, right? So if I was to zoom out here a second, you can kind of see this A wave here. This is basically the same measurement as our C wave based on this low point of 998, okay? So $998 was the B wave low, and then if we were to have 100% same movement as A wave, it would put us up here at 1,450. Now, typically, an ABC and a C wave commonly is a 1-to-1 ratio with an A wave. It doesn't always play out that way. As you can see here, a double top scenario being a bear signal, and we are dropping on down. Now, this drop to the downside is interesting because obviously our macro movement is very much to the downside. So a double top here could actually be our C wave high. Okay, so there's our bearish scenario as well. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is this bullish one, and then we're going to talk about the bearish one afterwards. Okay, I think the most probable scenario is that we are actually going to have the bullish sentiment play out, the bullish scenario play out, and we continue our motion to the upside based on the momentum behind the price. But I could be wrong, and we could still have this breakdown a little bit earlier than expected. Either way, we are looking still to pull back down, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, so basically we've got a 5-wave structure moving up. So basically it's a 3-3-5 with a wave 1 here, 2, this being wave 3, this currently being wave 4, and then we push up into wave 5. Now wave 5 would be shallower, it would not go as high as 1,450 unless it overextends, which I don't think it would, but you know, it's possible. So invalidation of this would basically be that wave 4 cannot cross, and it is not allowed to cross past $1,117. If it does, then essentially this would invalidate this structure to the upside, and it is not something that is valid. Okay, so we would need to stay above $1,117 if we want to see some upward price action within this structure. We can still move on up higher, just not inside this structure. Bear those things in mind. I'm specifically talking about a 5-wave move, not saying that we cannot move up higher under a different structure altogether. Okay, so knowing that we have a 5-wave potential move upwards and invalidation is set at 1,117, what is the likelihood of moving on up? Well, we take a look at the stochastic RSI, specifically on the hourly chart where we're oversold, looking for upward price action. On the 4-hourly, also oversold. On the 8-hourly, also oversold. The only one that's overbought is the daily chart. So we could, of course, pull back down, but there's a higher probability in my mind that we are going to see some price action to the upside. This could be short-lived, and we could basically go from oversold to overbought. The stochastic RSI is not going to be telling us, you know, the how much of a price movement we're going to have to the upside or to the downside. All it is telling us is the momentum behind the price. What is the chances of the move reversing from our current position, for example, okay? And how strong is that movement going in that particular direction? It's a momentum indicator. You cannot use it on its own. You have to use it with something. So knowing that we've got a potential 5-wave move upwards, knowing that we're oversold on the hourly, 4-hourly, and 8-hourly, that gives us a strong probability that we're going upwards into that 5th wave. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the bearish scenario. In order for this one to play out, what we want to do is we want to really zoom in on this move here. So basically we moved up just short of invalidating any potential moves to the downside. So we could of course count this as a 5-wave move to the downside. Although in the case of the bullish scenario, we are, of course, taking it as a three-wave count. It can be seen either way at the moment. So essentially what we'll do is, if that is a five-wave drop, and then this would be our wave 2 up higher, we would be looking for a five-wave drop down here, potentially a 5-3-5-3-5 structure. So this particular movement is actually of interest to us, because if we take this point and this point, and we have that entire measurement with a fib, that's 100%. We move it over to this bounce area just here, and we can see that if we were to come down to 1,125, then this would basically trigger an impulsive five-wave structure downwards, where we'd have 1, 2, down here would be 3, then we'd have some kind of 4, and then 5. And that fifth wave would then break the $1,117 range. So if I go ahead and just drop this in here, and then just drop in a piece of text down here to say 1.618, trigger, that's what I'm going to say, okay? And then I'll just okay that, just put that right on there. So we know that this level down here at 1,125 would basically allow us to know that we are pulling back down into, you know, a bigger move to the upside, to the downside, right? So essentially a five-wave drop. You do not see five waves on their own. Normally these would be coupled up. And considering this is a micro movement, what I would then expect to see if this does play out would be some kind of three-wave structure up, and it might actually be higher than that, right? We might actually move up quite significantly, but not go up higher than our origin, and then drop down in a more significant way afterwards, okay? So I think there's lots of things to kind of think about, lots of things to kind of understand. Essentially, we would have something that would look like this, right? We'd have our first five-wave move, we'd then have a three-wave move. Oh, if I could actually get that in the correct order there. I'll just start that again. So we'd have our three-wave move like this. We'd then have an additional five-wave drop that would be significantly more than our first five-wave move, okay? So we'd end up with something that would look like that. Essentially a mixture of corrective three-wave move and trend-based five-wave move. So that's kind of the bearish scenario. Now, obviously, taking a look at the stochastic RSI, it's telling us that we have probability of an upward directional move. That doesn't mean that we cannot pull down first and just hit this area of about 1,125 and then have this kind of sort of fourth wave relief bounce and then drop down even further and then bounce up in a significant way. So lots of things, two kind of real big possible scenarios here for Ethereum. One, obviously, just, you know, forgetting about our immediate kind of pull down into the fifth wave low, and basically continuation upwards to complete a fourth wave macro level, or, you know, alternatively just starting the third wave down here within our fifth wave, right? So a lot of things to kind of think about. I'm going to remove this here, and I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to leave that trigger point on there as well. Now, as I come up into the 8-hour chart, just bring this down. What I'll do is I'll remove this off of here as well. We do have our low points just kind of pinned out down here. These change depending on where our wave 4 is actually done or complete, okay? So if we actually zoom out here, you can kind of see this double top scenario right here, and this little yellow box would be an approximate target between $648 and $783. And basically, yeah, we'll be looking at a pretty significant kind of pullback to the downside. Now, the issue that we have is actually zooming out all the way to this all-time high, taking this level just up here and this high point here, move this over to this point, and we can see that we are basically in a macro fourth wave move, and it can be of significance, and we can see a bit of a bounce here. So if we actually mark this up, we have wave 1, wave 2, all of this is wave 3. It's possible that, 450 was actually be a pretty standard area. Sorry, 1,450 would have been a pretty good area to kind of hit, because it would have made a lot more sense. But if this is the high, that's our fourth wave, and then that is our fifth wave. So you can see on this macro scale just how big this is. This runs from November of 2021 down, right? So we have this kind of really big kind of five-wave structured move as we kind of pull back down. And what we're looking for here is basically this last little push to the downside to complete the move. The same with Bitcoin as well, right? And essentially that's kind of where we are tracking with Ethereum. So once we're down at these low points, I would expect some pretty good gains to follow, a pretty significant bounce upwards. Whether or not we go up into new all-time highs, that's yet to be seen, depending on the structured move. If it's just corrective, this could be really bad for crypto long term, where we kind of have something that maybe only comes up to this kind of $3,000 level. Essentially from there you would be looking at a pretty significant crash to the downside if that were to be the case. So you kind of keep an eye on this, but essentially on the macro side, yeah, we've got a pretty good progression here. Double top, bearish signal. It's the only question now is whether or not we are going to push up higher or lower. We've got our invalidation points. We would know what would happen under each of those. If I just jump back down into the hourly, if we go up higher than 1,280, then we're on our macro move up higher. Where I would estimate, if I grab hold of this high point and our low point, I would estimate us our kind of final move being somewhere between 1,300 and 1,370. So right inside that little sweet spot just there. If of course, we do drop down lower than 1,125, I would expect some kind of small bounce upwards and then a crash down, invalidating our bullish scenario by dropping down lower than 1,117. And it's at that point really that we start talking about, okay, are we going to go down lower than 998? And then are we going to go down lower than 881? Okay, there's quite a few areas here to kind of be thinking about, but essentially those are the key levels that we're watching out for at the moment here with Ethereum. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.